Well, here's the indictments. 12/30/2017.
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Page 1 of 7. In the United States District Court. For the Northern District of Nevada. Robert Blair, Thomas Deegan, Jeremy Lowe, Peter Ostrovsky, Don Bailey, Stephen Dwayne Curry. In private capacity by special appearance only. Criminal action for full. Punitive damages. Fee. Common grand jury demanded. Concerning September 11th. Black Op attack on America. Indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Download. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. 99-9920. Richard Cheney, John Brennan, John Ashcroft, Robert Mueller. George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Kevin Spacey, Barack Obama, John McCain. James Baker, Edgar BRONFMAN Sr., Paul Wolfowitz, Richard Pearl, Peter MUNK. CONDALEEZA Rice, George Soros, John Kerry, BANDAR bin Sultan, David. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Page 1/7. CONDALEEZA Rice, George Soros, John Kerry, BANDAR bin Sultan, David. Rockefeller, Brent SNOWCROFT, ZBIGNIEW Brzezinski and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Cheney, Brennan et al. With prejudice. Memorandum and order for formal prosecution for Black Op attack of September 11, 2001. Hun. Jim Hardesty. December 22, 2017. The alarming allegations in relation to the purported Black Op attacks of September 11, 2001, 9/11s, are enough to warrant yet another superseding indictment concerning only those events. In the wider context of this issue, each of the accused parties including Richard Cheney and Brent SNOWCROFT will face the death penalty. Others who have already passed on are likewise named for military authorities to recognize every part they played in this modern atrocity. Accordingly, offenses will be directly against Richard Cheney, George W. Bush and John Brennan in their public and private capacities rather than only public for all venues, Latin for commerce. The wider context this had with regard to uranium-1 is also explored. Your Honor, with treason only a use of force need be proven, as duly noticed on record when it. Indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Download. More actions. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. https://supreme.justia.com/cases/federal/is/572/12-1371/ 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 https:// Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. only prove there is sufficient probable cause to warrant the suspicion. The overwhelming amount of photos, military testimony and video will easily surpass that threshold without further delay as we submit to court. -1. Certainly, they have done absolutely nothing to avail themselves of obvious accountability for the crime of treason and those life-changing repercussions. That is to say, we assert, Your Honors, that defendant Cheney, Bush, Brennan, and now Clinton each violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 more than 8 separate times on displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Now Clinton each violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 more than 8 separate times on official record. In addition, they broke federal conspiracy law on 10 instances. Thereby, in the first instance, we charge offenders Cheney, Rice, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Clinton, John Brennan, George Tenet, Kevin Spacey, Peter MUNK, and George Soros et al. With violating 18 U.S.C. Section 2381, which is the crime of treason. As such, they will each be given a swift military trial and sentenced under Article 50 for acts of treason during wartime. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Introduction. America has by now heard of the September 11th Black Op attacks on the United States that took place in 2001. Yet what they didn't know is the level of culpability of the conspirators involved and the exact names of the perpetrators of these attacks. These attacks were a heinous war crime carried out on American shores by rogue intel agencies tied to Israel, but also nations like Saudi Arabia. And to date, they are an absolute dark stain on American history. In order for the nation to move displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Forward, it is now mandatory that this dark chapter be reopened. All of those responsible, as you note, Your Honors, must be brought to justice. After of which it is time disclose the profoundly hideous role Saudi Arabia played in these attacks, as well as the role of Israeli intelligence in assisting the Saudi agents of influence to pull them off. In so doing, it will put a close to an undoubtedly dark period of America's past misdeeds. -2. We can of course prove that Richard Cheney, Peter MUNK and Paul Wolfowitz all knew about this crime of treason, as did John Kerry and Barack Obama. They didn't just know about it, Your Honors, they were active agents in their execution. In light of this, we are officially ordering only the harshest military penalties against all involved. As submitted on record, we agree this was an act of treason. Bush's illegal, covert support of Azerbaijan in Azerbaijan. One finds a large cast of participants all linked through supporting roles in the Iran-Contra scandal and its cover-up. These individuals are Adnan Khashoggi, whose Azerbaijan banks played a big part in the formation of terrorist camps and in the opening of laboratories for developing chemical and bacteriological weapons in Nagorno-Karabakh. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Developing chemical and bacteriological weapons in Nagorno-Karabakh. Richard Secord, a former U.S. Air Force Major General who'd been helping to recruit and train the Azerbaijani army as well as regional secret services. Richard Armitage, acting as a consultant to Halliburton and Unocal at the time, and president of the U.S. Azerbaijani Chamber of Commerce. Farhad Azima, arms merchant with Iranian background, member of U.S. Azerbaijani Chamber of Commerce, assisted Richard Secord in recruiting and training Mujahedin mercenaries, owns the Azerbaijan Airlines, and has a 20-year relationship with the Bush family enterprise. Khalid bin Mahfouz, owner, with the bin Laden family and members of the Saudi royal family of the Saudi companies Delta Oil and Nimi Royal. Both are partners with Unocal in Azerbaijan. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Partners with Unocal in Azerbaijan. Dick Cheney, as CEO of Halliburton, lobbyist for the Azerbaijan International Operating Company, on U.S. Azerbaijani Chamber of Commerce. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. https://revengeftheherd.com/2017/09/13/treason-who-terrorized-americans-and-the-world-on-911/ David Kimchi, Israeli Mossad agent who brought Israeli agents into Azerbaijan at the request of ICHARD and worked with ICHARD and the Regional Secret Service organizations. The interplay of Barrick and the bank and oil cartels crisscross in a manner that strongly suggests ongoing partnership rather than coincidence. There are 3 pieces of evidence that identify a linkage between the management, ownership of Barrick, the oil cartel, and the German bank cartel. This report finds the individuals involved in planning, executing, and covering the WTC attack to be the same as those involved in Barrick and covered oil operations in Central Asia. The Houston office building that housed both Enron and Halliburton corporate headquarters was owned by KERRY. As earlier discussed, KERRY was a merger of Peter Munk's Barrick Gold and the Canadian BRONFMAN family. The CEOs of both companies, Kenneth Lay and Dick Cheney, are close associates of the Bush family, whose relationship to the founder of Barrick, Adnan Khashoggi, are extensive and stretched over at least 2 decades. 1. Barrick is also directly linked to UBS and the German bank cartel through use of its subsidiary gold refinery, Argerharius SA. Ownership of this refinery was transferred from UBS to Commerzbank, also part of the German bank cartel, in 1999. 2. Barrick is linked closely to the banking cartel through one of the most long-standing members of the advisory board, Karl Otto Pohl, former president of the German Central Bank Bundesbank, and chief officer of the International Bank of Settlements and IMF. Also on the Barrick board was former Canadian Deutsche Bank executive Ty W. Burt, the former chairman of Deutsche Bank Canada and Deutsche Bank, Alex Brown Securities Canada, and managing director and head of Deutsche Bank's Global Metals and Mining Group. Burt was involved when the Canadian Deutsche Bank backed Khashoggi in the MCCAIN securities fraud. Burt left the bank shortly after the fraud was discovered. Note also, 2 of the initial big investors in Barrick, Khashoggi and BRONFMAN, used the same personal financial advisor, Mayo Shattuck of the Deutsche Bank. Alex Brown. Mayo Shattuck was the chief assistant to Buzzy Krongard when he worked at Deutsche Bank. Alex Brown. Both through their executive roles at Deutsche Bank, Alex Brown were in a position to be familiar with the Khashoggi, Marcos gold deposits at that bank. https://revengeftheherd.com/2017/09/13/treason-who-terrorized-americans-and-who-on-911/. Count 1, we charge Peter Munk with breaking the offense of 18 U.S.C. Section 2381, the official offense against treason. He broke it 6 times, and for each offense we order a penalty. The offense carries an instant death penalty by firing squad. We further ask for review. The military has options: death by official firing squad, lethal injection, or life in Guantanamo Bay.
Hey, y'all thought this was a game, huh?
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. https://documents.mx/documents/nuclear-power-562A70943EOCO.html https://documents.mx/documents/nuclear-power-562A70943EOCO.html https://documents.mx.
I don't need you to keep repeating that.
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Firing squad, lethal injection or life in Guantanamo Bay. A general overview of the U.S. nuclear waste disposal problem and a review of the U.S. government's efforts to solve part of the problem with a nuclear waste repository in Nevada and resistance by Nevidans to that effort. Von Hippel, Frank N. Plutonium and reprocessing of spent nuclear fuel. Science, Volume 293, Issue 5539, September 28, 2001, pp. 2397-2398. A discussion of the May 2001 report of the National Energy Policy Development Group, chaired by Vice President Dick Cheney, with the conclusion that serious economic and environmental issues remain to be solved. Walt Matthew L. Dismantling Nuclear Reactors. Scientific American, Volume 288, No. 3, March 2003, pp. 60-69. The decommissioning of a nuclear power plant presents a large variety of technical problems, environmental pollution being one that is not normally considered. Inadequate detail. Walter, Alan E. Nuclear Technologies Numerous Uses. Science and Technology, Volume 20, No. 3, Spring 2004, pp. 48-54. The Director of Nuclear Energy at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory reviews a number of applications of nuclear energy in the fields of medicine, industry, agriculture, and research. Whipple, C. G. Can.
I don't want that. Sorry, I'm tired. It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Next we officially charge Richard Dick Cheney for his part played in 9/11. Count 1, we charge offender Richard Cheney to have committed the offense of 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 8 times, in respect to the crime of capital treason. His involvement in the Uranium-1 ordeal is now publicly revealed with Peter MUNK. He will surrender his passport.
Sentence is public death by firing squad or life in Guantanamo Bay by military order. What did I tell you? Military tribunal. Death. Next, we officially charge George W. Bush for his part in 9/11. Count 1, we charge George W. Bush to have committed the offenses of 18 U.S.C. S. 2381 9 times.
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Offense of 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 9 times. This is both in respect to his financial trades with Peter MUNK, as well as his trades with Bandar bin Sultan, and his presence at the Twin Towers, where he was told in utter shock how it would all go down. Treason has no expiration date. He will surrender his passport. For sentencing there are 2 options.
22 years in a harsh supermax prison or execution by firing squad. We will leave sentencing up to military personnel who can flip a coin on whether it shall be prison or firing squad by military decree. Next, we officially charge EDGAR, BRONFMAN to have committed the offense of 18 U.S.C. 231 8 separate times with respect to his public trades through Peter MUNK, Kevin SPACEY, and the SOROS Management Fund at Barrick Gold, North America. We also charge that Edgar Bronfman Sr. orchestrated the attacks with the assistance of George Bush Sr. and other plaintiffs. As such, he will surrender his passport. He is to be executed by a firing squad and publicly seized. The Houston office building that housed both Enron and Halliburton corporate headquarters was owned by Trizek Hahn. As earlier discussed, Trizek Hahn was merger of Peter Munich's Barrick Gold, and the Canadian BRONFMAN family. The CEOs of both companies, Kenneth Lay and Dick Cheney, are close associates of the Bush family, whose relationship to the founder of Barrick, Adam Khashoggi, are extensive and stretch over at least 2 decades. Here we go with George Soros.
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017.rtf.rtf. Next, we officially charge George Soros for his part being the mastermind behind the attacks. Count 1, we officially charge George Soros of being the grand mastermind behind one of America's worst atrocities. Your Honors must note that he planned, staged, and executed every part of the cover-up as it pertains to Uranium-1 and the 9/11 incident. We charge he violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 15 times. It was Soros who set up new trading platforms for George Bush Sr., Edgar BRONFMAN Sr., and the Saudis to work with Peter MUNK, who was financing the core axis of these attacks. Soros publicly and proudly committed capital treason on record, an offense that carries the highest afforded death penalty sanctions. His passport is now seized. We order that George Soros be executed twice by firing squad before a live television audience. Military can decide the best methods so it is never forgotten. Next, we officially charge George H.W. Bush for his part in orchestrating 9/11. Count 1, we charge George H.W. Bush violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 8 times. He officially played a role as orchestrator with Edgar BRONFMAN Sr. and Bandar bin Sultan, carrying out acts he knew were sedition. He openly traded with Peter MUNK and Bandar bin Sultan on many platforms, leading to the day of the attacks. He orchestrated the exact timing of the attacks by getting everyone out of the WTC before any explosions began. He openly planned the setup and location of the attacks, dragging his ignorant son along for the ride. Most significantly, with the aid of Barrick Gold, he covered up displaying indictment December 30th, 2017.rtf.rtf. All the financial trades to enable 9/11. His passport is now seized. We order offender George H.W. Bush be executed by firing squad under the laws of war. Military will explore each option. Next, we officially charge Bandar bin Sultan for his part in orchestrating 9/11. Count 1, we charge Bandar bin Sultan has broken 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 8 separate times with his act of treason regarding 9/11. He played a critical role with Edgar BRONFMAN Sr., Kevin Spacey, and George H.W. Bush in regards to covering for Uranium-1 and the SEC trades leading to the attacks. He openly planned the setup and location of 9/11 with the aid of Barrick Gold, which also enabled him to steal trillions. He bragged after about how the entire SEC was in his back pocket. He brazenly secured trades with Peter MUNK, who was a heavy investor in the Sultan. We order for offender Bandar bin Sultan to be seized and executed by firing squad under laws of war. This will be the final time the Saudi card plays us. Military are tasked to explore options. Next, we officially charge John Kerry with the part he played in 9/11. Count 1, we charge that John Kerry has violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 10 times, just like Edgar BRONFMAN Sr. Kerry helped facilitate the illegal trades for Bandar, BRONFMAN, Bush, and MUNK. These trades allowed the 9/11 Black Op attacks to carry out effortlessly without a hitch, like all of his fellow liberal displaying indictment December 30th, 2017.rtf.rtf. Conspirators, Kerry was aware he was committing capital treason. He was threatened to never say a word. Thereby we order a sentence of up to 35 years in Guantanamo Bay or lethal injection. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Next we officially charge Paul Wolfowitz for his part played in the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we officially charge Paul Wolfowitz with breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381. 9 times with respect to the 9/11 Black Op. Wolfowitz was present at all the meetings with Cheney, John Brennan and SOROS. He displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Knew the exact time and date for the attacks and wanted them. We thus order his passport seized. The penalty is 40 years in
Guantanamo, or instant death by firing squad under the laws of war, military decides. Next, we officially charge Richard PERLE for his part in the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we officially charge Richard PERLE with breaking 18 U.S.C. 231 8 times on record. He met with BANDAR bin Sultan many times, yet was unaware they would each be committing treason. Thus, we now seize his passport. The penalty is 50 years in Guantanamo Bay. Next, we charge John Brennan for his role played in the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we officially charge John Brennan for breaking 18 U.S.C. 2381 for his role in the most heinous attacks in 50 years, along with his liberal co-conspirators. Sorry, y'all, I'm tired, man. Brennan had a more minor role as the leader of strategy sessions leading up to 9/11. Thus, we charge him as an accessory to capital murder. His passport is now seized. The penalty is 35 years in Guantanamo Bay. The military can choose execution only if directed. You motherfuckers are in trouble.
displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Next we charge Robert Mueller for his role played in the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we now have little choice but to charge Robert Mueller for breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 in his role of covering up 9/11. He was threatened with death if he ever revealed anything. Thus, we now seize his passport. The penalty is 6 years in a supermax prison and 15 years probation to ensure Mueller never repeats an offense. Military by decree will explore options. Next we charge CONDALEEZA Rice for her minor role played in the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we officially charge CONDALEEZA Rice with breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381. Once in respect to her minor role concerning the 9/11 Black Op attacks on America. Her passport will now be seized. We assert she has already paid a heavy price for involvement. The penalty will thus be up to 10 years in a supermax prison with a 5-year minimum sentence. This is followed by 15 years of mandatory probation since we are certain the accused played a very small part and will not repeat offenses. Next we charge Kevin Spacey for his supervisory role in orchestrating the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we see no issue with charging Kevin Spacey yet again, this time for breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 as chief supervisor over much logistics of 9/11. -7. Spacey traded a massive amount of stock with Peter MUNK and trading platforms owned by SOROS. Looking at his film The Usual Suspects, it is likewise very clear he felt it would make a perfect jab to make it appear that Israel was the sole instigator of 9/11. Of course we now know otherwise, as the House of Saud is exposed for its crimes worldwide. His passport is now seized.
The penalty for such serious treason is up to 30 years in Guantanamo Bay, or official public execution by full firing squad, as in Godfather 3. The military will explore which option works best. Next we charge, I can't even say his name, but
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Count 1. Even though Brzezinski is deceased, he violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381. We now charge Brzezinski openly plotted and hatched the 9/11 attacks directly beside David Rockefeller and George Soros. For many years he worked in secret, plotting the trading platforms that would enable the worst atrocities in 50 years to take place. Brzezinski knows what he did was the commission of capital treason. Thus we order the military to execute Brzezinski by public firing squad using a suitable stand-in for this treasonous mastermind. Military are free to shoot up a test dummy. Next we charge John Ashcroft for his part in orchestrating the 9/11 cover-up. Count 1. Even though Ashcroft is deceased, he violated 18 U.S.C. Section 2381. We now charge John Ashcroft with capital treason. He deliberately closed 6 FBI and federal investigations into 9/11 while alive. He likewise displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Hid the alleged money trail for the 9/11 co-conspirators. As such, we order the penalty of public hanging be enacted. A public stand-in for Ashcroft will be created and hung by the neck until dead. Military is to explore options. Next we charge Barack Obama with high treason for his role in enabling the 9/11 attacks. Count 1. We charge Barack Obama openly broke 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 9 separate times. This was in respect to his and his fellow liberal conspirators who covered up any investigations from proceeding against the perpetrators both before, during and after the initial attacks. In his role as senator, Obama actually blacked out files and concealed relevant records about Peter Munk which may have brought the perpetrators to justice. He also had a hand in the attacks. -8. By enabling the criminal actions of Edgar BRONFMAN Sr. We therefore charge
Obama as an accessory to capital murder and place him in Guantanamo Bay. Penalty for such actions is 10 years in Guantanamo Bay. Military explores options.
displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Next we officially charge David Rockefeller with being a mastermind of 9/11. Count 1. We hereby charge David Rockefeller with violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 12 times. Rockefeller is deceased, yet committed capital treason under law. As such, he will be sentenced to death a second time for his role in assisting the illegal sec trades and black op jobs leading up to the 9/11 attacks after he had decided the location. The penalty is public death by firing squad. The military is ordered to find a suitable stand-in and fire upon them. Military may even shoot up a test dummy to send message. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Next we charge Brent SNOWCROFT for the minor part he played in the cover-up of the 9/11 attacks. Count 1. We hereby charge Brent SNOWCROFT for his violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 twice in respect to financing the 9/11 attacks. Once directly through the official channels of the American Turkish Council via Turkey and once via Bandar bin Sultan of Saudi Arabia. He no doubt felt the funds couldn't be traced, and that the audit trail naming Israel as the culprit was infallible. He thought wrong, as a money trail leading to the Sultan was very obvious and proved there were two hostile state actors involved. With the aid of John McCain and Edgar BRONFMAN Sr., he then attempted to destroy evidence. That is an additional conspiracy offense. The penalty is up to 30 years in Guantanamo Bay Prison as required. Military will explore options. Next we charge John McCain for his part in orchestrating the 9/11 attacks. Count 1, we hereby charge John McCain for breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 twice in respect to his criminal actions with Bandar bin Sultan and Israel intelligence. McCain openly solicited funds from the disgraced prince and took bribes. -9. To assist with the staging of the worst terrorism in 50 years. He likewise helped the MADRASSAH and attempted to single out Israel by hiding the Saudi regime's duplicitous role. McCain also commissioned many trades with BRONFMAN Sr., H.W. Bush and Peter Monk the day before. The worst terrorist attacks in this nation's short history. He will thus displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Be sentenced for both roles when it concerns the Uranium-1 disaster. He is charged once for assisting the transport of the uranium isotopes. And secondly, he is charged for providing the cover for the uranium being collected and drawn onto the base of each target so both world trade centers would explode. He knew the wet teams who were going into the inside of the buildings and had a very good idea of their relationship to Prince Bandar bin Sultan, who donated to his campaign. The penalty of commissioning capital treason is death. We order a sentence against John McCain of either up to 20 years in Guantanamo Bay or death by firing squad. Military consorts will explore which option is fastest or serves the most benefit. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Count 1, we charge James Baker with breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 with respect to his cover-up of both the financing and the grounds operations. Where it concerns 9/11. Counsel James Baker III was formerly head legal counsel for H.W. Bush as well as BRONFMAN for many years. He was involved heavily in operational logistics. The penalty is a
sentence of up to 20 years in Guantanamo Bay. Finally, we officially charge Hillary Clinton for a role orchestrating the 9/11 conspiracy under the orders of chief financier George Soros.
displaying indictment December 30th, 2017. RTF. Count 1, we charge Hillary Clinton with breaking 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 on more than 10 occasions when it concerns the 9/11 attacks. Clinton sat in on multiple meetings between BRONFMAN and Bush where it concerns setting up the incident of mass murder. She also had personal knowledge of what George Soros was planning to do and took large kickbacks from Bandar bin Sultan, as she is already named in other criminal referrals. The penalty here will be reduced to a 10-year sentence. Military is -10. Ordered to add the charges on once officially in custody. Military will explore options that include life in Guantanamo Bay with supervised release. It cannot ever be understated the amount of severe national consequences this criminal activity in respect to uranium one has had on national public interests. In this regard, we admonish the actions of George Soros and his many conspirators, living or deceased, on the record. Capital treason is a very serious offense, especially when it pertains to the public transmission and use of uranium on American land as well as water reserves. It is likewise even worse when said uranium is publicly used for the execution of one of the most severe black op attacks against Americans in the nation's history. As such, we again state for the record the seriousness of these Navigate up. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017.rtf.rtf. https://
No.
Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017.rtf.rtf. Courtrooms of record until the very last trial is held. He is known by the initials SCD, who forever shall go down in infamy as one of, if not the most rotten sod to ever live. His public works are only as brazen as those cigars he smokes under the Byzantine sun. As agreed upon, his name or any privileged private details will remain undisclosed. These are the small prices that are always paid in the interest of ensuring proper justice in due course, against any of the sadists' minions who illegally mine uranium. To avoid further civil wars, we will keep any other first-hand knowledge regarding their operations a voluntary secret. Yet, let it be known that on this day America arose and struck back. A nation will suffer by its fools but will not ever survive treason from within. Indeed, the people know the truth is out there. -11. In the United States District Court. For the Northern District of Nevada. Robert Blair, Thomas Deegan, Jeremy Lowe, Peter Ostrovsky, Don Bailey, Stephen Dwayne Curry, criminal. V. 99-9920. Displaying indictment December 30th, 2017.rtf.rtf. V. 99-9920. Richard Cheney, John Brennan, John Ashcroft, Robert Mueller. George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Kevin Spacey, Barack Obama, John McCain. James Baker, Edgar BRONFMAN Sr., Paul Wolfowitz, Richard Perle, Peter MUNK. CONDALEEZA Rice, George Soros, John Kerry, Bandar bin Sultan, David Rockefeller, Brent SNOWCROFT, ZBIGNIEW Brzezinski and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Cheney, Brennan et al. With prejudice. Concerning conspiracy to enact treason with a public black op. Attack on the United States, to include the Twin Towers. Stationed in New York City on September 11, 2001, 9/11. To include conspiracy to enact an act of treason on 9/11. In accordance with 18 U.S.C. Section 2381, the crime of capital treason. ***, those who are deceased will have subpoenas served retroactively post-mortem against all their properties. And now, on this day of December 22, 2017 during the fall season, it is hereby ordered that the defendants be charged with treason against the United States for the national black op attacks on America occurring. Date of September 11, 2001. All penalties are measured by severity and resolve of listed offenses. In addition, it is so ordered that a subpoena be issued upon Richard Cheney, John Brennan, CONDALEEZA Rice, George H.W. Bush, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Kevin Spacey and Hillary Rodham Clinton to produce all documents related to Uranium-1 and the September 11th Black Op attacks which prove relevant. All materials will be collected by local militia pursuant to chapter or state on all named conspirators as well as any publicly known accomplices under force of arms. As stated under the rules of military law in Article 50, this order stands binding to conduct swift service. It is so ordered that Richard Cheney, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Kevin Spacey, George H.W. Bush, Bandar bin Sultan, George Soros, Edgar BRONFMAN Sr. and Hillary Clinton be hit with offenses for violating 18 U.S.C. Section 2381 on record a minimum of 10 times. This, as your honors will note, is original state law U.S.C. Code with RICO charges enforced. They are to be seized with due course, then placed in cells until trial.
Denied, denied, denied. That's all, folks. Alright, y'all be blessed, man. I love y'all, man. It's going down.